And so we're in part 2 of our Jeremiah 18 teaching here. And if you are following us here, it is wonderful that you've been able to come online with us. And what I'm going to do is, this one will be a bit longer. Brent Zockoll of Zockoll Pottery is here. And so we're waving to him. That's him. That's my brother. And so we're in Parsonsburg, Maryland, which is near our old hometown of Delmar, Delaware, and Maryland. We'll talk more about that later. But Jeremiah 18 talks about the creation, how the Lord will take and mold people. And so Brent is actually going to do this right now, not create people. He's going to create some pottery, and we're going to look at the spiritual application to this. Okay, tell us, what do you do first?
Well, of course, this is my electric wheel. I have this called a bat I put on here that I set on here so I can add these little little square bats that can go on and off. So I put one on here, then I'll just pull it off, and you can see over here.
Okay, so you see, can you see like what way over there? And it is they're very close. See how they are, and they're sitting, you know, as if they're on here. So this is going to be the base, the structure that he's popped into there.
Yeah.
So you can pull it right out, you know, not have any problem there. All right, so here we go.
I have some clay already weighed out and kneaded, ready to go. It's 1.25 pounds. And I put it on the wheel. I'm kind of like dry centering it, getting it ready. Then I add water. And this is called centering. First thing you got to do in pottery, it's the hardest thing. It's kind of like if you want to apply it to our Christian life, first thing you got to do is be centered, be saved.
Yeah, that would make sense, because if you think of it in a spiritual application, if you're on this side, there's no balance.
See,
hey, we're really getting a good spiritual application here. That's good.
What it is so there's no wobbling. If it's wobbling, then everything's going to be thrown off. So what I do, the next step is I open it up. Application there.
Yeah.
There's so many applications. So many things that think of different things. And then what I kind of relate to too is the first thing you actually do on a vessel is form the foundation. So right now, if you want to even get over top, can you see down inside, Brent?
Okay. Okay, so here's your next spiritual application. You have to have, say it about the foundation again?
The foundation is really first. I'm finishing the bottom before I start the sides. So I can't, take a vessel and go down to the bottom. The foundation, so I'm smoothing, actually the bottom, I say if this is going to be a mug, this is the bottom of the mug. I'm finishing right now. It's done. And now I can work on the walls. Is this like a building or a...
So think about that spiritually. If you don't get the foundation done, the walls, the rest of it, make no sense whatsoever. So you've got another spiritual truth here that works out. You got to get the foundation before you, and it has to be centered. The foundation has to be centered. Yeah, we're really doing good on this.
I pulled the walls up. See, you can watch them grow. Actually, I'm pulling, and the wheels go slower as you continue the process.
Brian, is the connection coming through okay? You check, because every once in a while, and we're just checking on the connection here as we're out at the pottery studio. Is it coming? It's because every once in a while. Now it says low connection, but you're okay. It's still coming on. So no loss in that. Well, real good. Okay, so now you see, going through this, you have to be centered. Brent starts with a foundation, then building the walls. As you see it, and we go through, and in doing so, think of the Christian life. You have a strong foundation. God works with your foundation first. A lot of people want to work on their walls and work on other things, but Brent, you said it has to be there, and it has to be centered.
Yeah, and the thing about it, you want to take the application, we are the clay, God is the potter, so use your imagination. God and my hands are on the clay. There's a lot of hands-on, and that's what in our lives, to be great for God, to have purposes in your life, to be Christ-like after salvation. You need God's hands on your life.
Yeah.
And so that's what you have to do. The clay's not going to do anything by itself. I mean, it will spin, but that's all it's going to do. So you have to let God mold you, make you, let him put his hands on your life. That's through reading God's word, growing, getting closer, trying to find what the Lord wants. Now, what happens sometimes is things could change. There could be a fault. There could be a fault in the clay. There could be an air bubble. There could be something that makes the clay fall apart and becomes marred. The Bible talks about becoming marred in the potter's hands. But God can still make something else out of it. Say if I had an air bubble here and I had to cut the top off. I mean, I could mess it up and show you, but say some imperfection happened in here. I could cut the top off and make a smaller mug. I could make a bowl. I could make a plate. It still can be used. It could be made. Or when you're all done, say it's completely ruined, you can see over here. You go into the slop bucket.
And you could say something like that's sometimes when people just have to be brought back to the beginning.
Yeah. See, then this is of course very wet, and it'll be reworked. It'll take some time. Here's some clay that's been drying for a while. See, it's a little farther along. And when it gets dry enough, I'll knead it and come up with the same thing we're doing now.
So that's been recycled. That's recycled clay. I mean, it's going to be used again.
That'll be a mug too. That'll be a bowl or mug or plate. So.
And many times in life, people they feel like they're going back to the beginning, but really what's happening is God just remolding for maybe another ministry or maybe another step in life and things like that.
Here's another application. God uses things in your life to get to where He wants you to be. So there's tools. Now this tool, here's a sponge to take water out of the bottom. Here's a tool I'm going to use in a minute to shape the bottom. You'll see me pick up different tools. I always like to look at it as different people come into your life.
Yeah.
That help you along to teach you, refine you, getting some Bible, maybe some Bible classes, going to church, maybe going to college, reading good books,
yeah,
good people. So
absolutely,
you start shaping as you grow older. You're not supposed to be a finished vessel.
Oh, real good.
Now,
and Kaylee and Libby and Tara, good to have you on here and watching. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask some for Brent. He's got some. As we're looking at the application, we're going to be on for a little bit here, as you can see. We're broadcasting live here from Zockoll Pottery Studio here in Parsonsburg, Maryland, and looking at the application. So to repeat, if you've just joined us, is in starting off, Brent said everything has to be balanced. It has to be, your life in the Lord has to be balanced because it's just not going to work out in this world. And he started with the foundation. Start with the foundation as the Lord would work with us. And he's building up and using different tools. And the Lord's going to use different tools in your life to bring about different growth and learning experiences. And sometimes we get set and go back into the beginning. We get set back, but the Lord does not cast us off. There's recycling time. So watch what he's doing now.
Now, this tool is more like a smoothing tool.
Okay, so you're saying you have a smoothing tool.
Yeah, I'm shaping.
Yeah, different tools. Yeah.
I'm deciding what shape I want. Some people believe that in pottery, whatever happens, happens. No, there's a plan. There's a purpose.
Yeah.
I know what I want to make. This is going to be this over here. This is what I want to make.
Okay, so there's the purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, but it may not end up that way because of something else. You still could be used, but I have a plan. I don't throw and say, oh wow, the clay decided what it wanted to be. If it did, it's not by design. It's by accident. So now I'm making this is a cylinder actually that will become a mug. A handle will be put on it. A logo will be put on it. So I got where I want the outside looking smooth. Most of my mugs are smooth because you're gonna put your knuckles up against it. You're gonna grab it. You put some more. I'm gonna look inside there. I don't know if you can see with the lighting, but there's water in the bottom.
Yeah.
If I don't get that water out, it'll just dissolve. Clay and water, it'll dissolve and make a hole in the bottom. So I rinsed it out. Sponged it out. I'll sponge my wheel a little bit. Clean my hands. Here's the application I really thought about. Now I'm going to cut it off the wheel. You see that wire on there?
Yeah.
I'm going to take this, and what I do, I cut it from the wheel. I can pick it up, but then you might get be lopsided.
Oh yeah.
So I take this and let it become leather hard. but it is cut off the wheel. And
Okay,
I
so
let that
it's
dry.
so it's going to dry. So it won't settle back down then.
No, when it goes through the kiln, it'll shrink some because the water will be evaporate out. So it does shrink some. This has a lot of water. It's about 1.5 pounds. After it goes through the kiln, it'll end up being about under 1 pound.
Okay, so now this is a waiting period then, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, again, I mean, here's another application too. Sometimes, he's not on there. Hey, Caleb, glad to see you, sir, and Tara, and Kaylee, and our other ones. It's good to see you. And when we're learning about spiritual applications, as we're actually in my brother's studio here, Zockoll Pottery studio, and I'll show you. He's not going to brag much, but I'll brag for him. He's got a number of different places. But look at this.
This is pretty wet clay. You see.
Yeah.
Now what's next?
So that's a waiting period, like the Lord has us wait. Here was the construction and the learning period. Here was the times when we have to just regroup and get started again, being put on there. But take a look at this.
What I usually do with those, until I get a time to put a handle on it, I put it in this refrigerator. It's just a damp box, just to keep them from drying out.
Oh,
so
yeah,
inside here, you can see some that I wiggled the other one. This will be a tumbler with no handle, but see it. It's leather hard.
Okay.
I can
It's
add
leather
a handle.
hard, okay.
I can add a handle, add a logo, and these are waiting till I get to them. When orders come in.
Now this is in a refrigerator, but this refrigerator is not on. This is like a drying box. Okay, so these are not cold. These are just regular, well, a little bit, but they're damp and they're drying. So he's using this like as a storage area, like a vault.
Yeah, so there's a handle added to that one, and it's waiting for a logo. I can fire it without a logo, but once that's bone dry, it's completely dry, then it can go into the kiln. I have some over here. Come on, this way.
And you see some of the different things. Like I said, he's doing a number of different things. We'll get back to that later.
See, now this is bone dry. This has no water in it, and it's called. Don't hit it too hard because it's brittle. But
I won't.
Feel it.
But you can feel it's dry here.
So I added a logo and added a handle, and it's drying by the kiln.
But that's not been fired yet?
No, that hasn't been fired yet. If it was fired once, it would look like
Okay, this is a first firing.
bisque. It's called a bisque firing. So now, of course, you can bang it a little bit.
Okay.
Then it's going to be glazed. After it comes out, it's a 16-hour period. It'll be glazed, fired again, and here's a glazed product.
Yeah. So think about it. Think about how many people want to have. Now watch all the things as we walk back over to Brent. You've got this. You've got the creation. You have the structure. You're going over here for a drying. You've got to come over here for another settlement of drying. Then you're coming over here for a firing, which is what it's called. This is a kiln. And you're going up there, and then he's mentioning 16 hours. And how many people, especially we Americans, you want instantaneous results. I want to be out and going and everything. Do you realize all the patience that's involved in all of these things that is going? Then you have more than one. You're going to be going through a first firing, then you're getting the color put on, and then it goes through another firing, right?
Like, for example, these haven't been fired yet, but you see some glaze painted on those. There's glaze painted on.
Okay, you see the glaze on there.
Then it'll go in here, and this is, we're going to take a sneak peek.
Yeah.
This is my kiln. You can see right here, Brad.
Yeah.
It took 12 hours and 7 minutes till it reached peak temperature, which was 2,238 degrees. Then it started cooling off, and this is just recording it. Is now at 427.
Yeah, 427.
So I look at it as that's like an oven in a house.
And so think about it. So while Brent's showing us here, and like I said, so many people want instantaneous. I want ministry. I want God to answer now. And the Lord's using Jeremiah 18, the patience involved, the correction for the people. Now watch. And the heat, we can feel the heat coming out right now.
Mm-hmm. You see,
and
those
everything.
are too hot to touch, but these are glazed. And I let it cool down slow. Just let it. But if you could feel the heat pouring right out, it feels good, actually.
We even hear the crackling because of the change, because it's cold. I don't know how cold it was outside there, but in here you can hear the crackling.
Mm-hmm. So I'll probably
and
close
everything.
it back up. But this is,
Yeah.
if you want to look, you kind of look down. There's three or
way down
four
in there.
layers of
You'll see
pottery
different
in there.
layers way down in there as well. And then you're seeing, and these are not done.
These are done. These are cool.
Oh, these are done Can't touch them. They're,
No,
you know,
there's
blistering
no
hot,
pot.
you know. But see, look at all the stages of the maturity of the pot to be ready to be used as a vessel. I mean, can we get the spiritual application here? Okay, watch what he's doing.
I'm gonna pick up for a little while. I'll probably have to put it back down. Here's one I was kind of curious that I did
Look at that.
some glaze on.
And
See,
look,
I can
no,
feel
no
right
matter
through my
what,
gloves.
everyone's unique.
Yeah.
Everyone's unique. The artwork on it, you know, even if they were made with the same style for a company, everyone is individually made.
Here's different logos,
Different companies, different logos,
and they're very
made
hot.
for individuals, made for companies.
I can feel right through my gloves, so I'm gonna let it cool off slower. And then we'll,
Hey, Rick. Good to see Rick on board here. Caleb is also with us. Kaylee, a number of people here. And we're looking at the spiritual application in a simple way with Jeremiah 18 about how pottery is used. And now take a look at this here.
Here's a plate that's not been fired. It's drying. Has to get all the water out. If you don't take the water out, it goes in the kiln, it'll crack. And some still crack anyway, but the thickness and things like that. But this is drying. It'll go in the next load. Misfiring. Large platter plate.
Look at all this.
Paint a picture of one of our relatives on there.
Oh my goodness.
Crab.
We think we have an idea who you're talking about, but we're not going to say
Won't
anything.
mention any names. And then these are up here just to dry by the kiln.
Different styles, different shapes. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
This was a Christmas present for you.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want you to see that, but
well, okay. I just got. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back later on, and then as we see some other spiritual applications. But you get an idea of the studio here and everything that's being done, and go back through. And if you could think about, you know, how you know in your life you're getting frustrated because you're not. That's Brian back there, and so he's not actually doing.
Wait, Brian.
He's here looking for free coffee. But you know, if you're thinking about this and you're under construction in your life, and we have some good friends that have moved across the United States, and you're in our prayers, you know, and I know that sometimes it's kind of like, what are we doing here? What are we supposed to be doing? Why is God putting us here, and what's supposed to happen? Look, go back through this broadcast along with the other ones and look at the different truths from a literal pottery studio on how these things are constructed and used for the purpose of the people that's going to have it, and then start following that there. And we'll talk some more about that later on. But that's Brent, and then he is the head of the whole studio here, reaching out to millions of people every day with pottery and mugs. No, well, he does a lot of the things. And so we're going to learn some more. And so stay with us, and we'll probably be back. I guess we'll hit it in just a little bit right before noontime. We'll go through something else here. So stay tuned, and thanks so much. We'll talk in just a little bit.